Hey there, everybody. This is a brew I've been working on, and the idea is that with the popularity of a card like Sleepy's Flute now as a card in these Steelsong decks, I wanted to give a shot to a deck that goes all in on Sleepy's Flute and 0 to hero. And the idea is that, ideally you'd get an explosive start with 0 to hero, and then when your opponent starts catching up, if they're playing a control deck later in the game, then you can finish the game out with Sleepy's Flute as long as you are close enough to 20 lore when you get to that point of the game. And so I don't want to talk too much about every single card in the list just because it's, pretty similar to a typical Steelsong deck in many ways. So instead I'll talk specifically about the choices that make this deck unique. As far as 0 to hero goes and making this card good, I think the best thing you can do with 0 to hero is probably turn 3 Beast. So the idea there is that if you have two characters in play on turn 3, at least one of which can sing the 0 to hero, which would mean, any 2-drop or Cinderella 1, then you can play a turn 3 Beast, which is very powerful and probably an amazing way to start the game. Very difficult to deal with that early on, and will draw you some cards. Obviously, you can quest very aggressively. And I also wanted to try Snow White in this deck, and so the reason behind that is that you want some number of characters, obviously, that can sing 0 to hero, so you need to have some 2-drops, but I'm not playing the Shift Cinderella, so I didn't really want to play the Cinderella 2-drop, so I chose Snow White, and the reason is because I thought, well, healing this beast might be very good, especially since this beast is going to be very hard to remove early in the game, so I suspect that some opponents will try dealing damage to it with Smash, Fire the Cannons, or Teeth and Ambitions. Specifically, Teeth and Ambitions and Fire the Cannons, you can heal that damage off with Snow White, which would allow you to continue drawing cards with your 5-drop Beast. And beyond that, I thought, well, an early shift Snow White would be really good in this deck. I think this deck is more aggressive than a typical Steelsong deck, so having a card that accrues advantage while questing, like this Snow White does, might be really good. Also, it's technically possible to play a turn 3 6-drop Snow White with 0 to hero. Now that requires a Cinderella plus any two other 2-drops. Then you can, get 3 ink with singing 0 to hero off Cinderella, and then, you would have 3 in your inkwell and you could play an early Snow White. And I was thinking, well, maybe you wouldn't be able to draw cards, but you do have a 1-2 exerted at that point, which is very likely to end up getting banished in a challenge. So I think that getting this in play on turn 3 is actually probably pretty good as well. Of course, you could do the same thing with this one Tinkerbell. And that is also the reason I am playing this Simba. I wanted to have a critical mass of 1-drops to make that potentially possible. And I'm not playing Shift Cinderella, so there's no reason to have Cinderella 2, but I also like having the loot effect in the deck, especially with a lot of cards that may want to get looted away, like Sleepy's Flute is bad sometimes, 0 to hero is bad sometimes. Same thing with some of these uninkable songs. And yeah, so that's basically the reason I put the Simba in here. I have no idea if it's good. I have no idea if it's even reasonable to expect a turn 3 6-drop with 0 to hero, beyond once in a blue moon. But yeah, that's the deck. And I figured I'd give it a shot, see how some of these cards play out. And yeah, let's get into some games. Alright, we are here playing some all-in 0 to hero Flute Steelsong. And this hand does not look great. You don't really want Sleepy's Flute in your opening hand. And 0 to hero is not super good without 1-drops. I think I will keep these 3. The Simba mostly just has ink. Alright. I'm going to put Cinderella in play if we ever find something like a 0 to hero. We're going to want it in play, but also obviously any of the other songs make it pretty useful. Rapunzel. Cinderella. Okay. Don't know how I feel about that. I don't think we're going to need 3 aerials. I'll put Simba in bodyguard mode. I expect that our Cinderella is likely to get shot down here, but nothing we can do about it. Lantern. Hopefully not a Stitch. Queen, okay. All right. I think I want to ink Stitch here. It's the least likely of the cards in our hand to be useful. What I'm looking for is a steel removal spell. We do not hit one, unfortunately. I don't think the order on any of this matters. And I think I'm just going to quest. I hope they don't shift the queen. If they do, it'll be at least mildly annoying. Also hope they don't shoot my aerial. They have at least 2 Rapunzels in their deck, which is interesting to me. It's more than most people are currently playing. A Tinkerbell, okay. They really are on something else over there. I'm going to start by leading on aerial to see what we hit. We hit a whole new world. I guess I'll take it. Would have liked a Steelsong for that Tinkerbell, but that's okay. Let's start by getting rid of their Queen and Cinderella. Ink this Snow White. And I don't see a reason not to quest. Obviously, if they have Shift Tinkerbell into Grab Your Sword, we're going to be in trouble, but can't beat everything. All right, they have the Shift Tinkerbell. But they do not have Grab Your Sword. All right. Well, we'll have some stuff left on board then. Can easily trade the Cinderella into their Tinkerbell as well, which I think I will do. Let's sing A Whole New World. We can maybe hit our removal spell to just play. Yes, we do. So let's do that. All right, we're set up pretty decently here. Ahead on lore, ahead on board. They obviously get first crack at new cards, but that's okay. Okay, second Tinkerbell. Zero to Hero gives you so many options. It's hard to know what to do, but I'm going to start on Aerial, I think. And that is why. It allows us to shoot down their Tinkerbell. I don't think we need this Simba. Play the Queen. Shoot Tinkerbell. And I don't think I necessarily want... I could play like Zero to Hero and then drop a Queen. But I think with this Flute in hand, I would rather keep the song as reach and like walk a little bit less into a Grab Your Sword. Alright, Stitch I think is going to be a little bit slow for them. Oh yeah. I'm going to start on this Simba. I think I'm almost certainly playing these Flutes. The Queen is probably the worst card in my hand. Let's go Flute. Sing this song. Alright, then I think I'm happy to quest out, and then I've got these Flutes for reach, so it should be pretty easy to close out the game over the course of a few turns with some songs. Double Grab Your Sword would do a good job toward catching my opponent up, but I still think we would be able to get there through that. Okay. It's probably not a good enough start for them. Mm-hmm. Well, looks like these flutes are going to end up being decently good, although certainly not necessary. Any random character, I think, would have done it here. But at least they allowed us not to play into double sweeper as much. Alright. Alright, here playing another game with the all-in Sleepy's Flute 0 to hero deck. And I think Sleepy's Flute is pretty bad in the opener. I should probably keep Big Stitch. I'll hold on to Cinderella as well in case I find 0 to hero. It's also good with Strength of Raging Fire. I think just mulling these Sleepy's Flutes seems good to me. Okay. Lots of stuff I don't need in here. I'm going to Ink a Beast. Play Cinderella in case I need to use Strength of a Raging Fire. Likely to be inking this Queen as well, unless I quickly draw 1-drop Queen. Flounder. Alright. Flounder and Tamatoa. I have no idea what that means, to be honest, but I'm going to shoot this Flounder. Nice to have a whole new world. It'd honestly be pretty nice to draw 0 to hero next turn. Okay, Hypnotize. So like a blue-green discard style something. Okay, that grab your sword was quite bad. I need to hit an Inkable next turn or we're going to be in some trouble. Jasper. Okay, so we hit an Inkable. I don't want to have this whole new world discarded out of my hand, so I'm going to play a whole new world and hope that I hit a removal spell for this Cruella. Otherwise, they'll be able to trade for my Stitch, which I am not a fan of, but I think this is the lower risk play. Okay, it's not quite what I wanted, but it'll work. There's a few too many Stitch Rockstars in this hand. Yep. That's all fine with me. At least I get to keep my Stitch. I'm assuming they'll heal this Jasper. Another Cruella. I'm surprised they didn't heal the Jasper. I'm going to start by drawing. Okay, that was a good draw. So I think what I want to do is shoot Cruella and then challenge the Jasper just to maintain board control. Because these characters can challenge mine, which is kind of annoying, but I also have, I have the shift characters in my hand, so I want to keep my Queen and Small Stitch around. It's not like I have to worry about something like Grab Your Sword or any other sweeper. I play two characters. Queen plus World's Greatest Criminal Mind is online. Pete, annoying one. All right, I think what we should do is just start questing as much as we can. I'm happy to have this 0 to hero in my hand, just as a card I can discard. But I think questing for 8 seems pretty good. And then maybe Sleepy's Flute will be able to finish out the game. Cogsworth. Lets them keep their Pete around. I'm surprised they took out my Queen and not my Stitch. Okay, let's lead on drawing with the Queen. Not so great here. Sleepy's Flute. I mean, I better just quest and then try to win with Sleepy's Flute here. I think 0 to hero is the worst card, so I'm just going to play it for a no value. And then activate my Sleepy's Flute. So far, 0 to hero has not impressed me. The Flute's been okay. Okay, so they battle into my Stitch, unsurprisingly. I expect that they will also battle into my Queen. Hoping to get one more quest off with the Stitch. Obviously, if they bounce it with the Genie, that would be unfortunate. Fishbone. I do not know what's going on over there. It is a brew and a half. Let it go. Okay, that's not good for me. Somehow have to get 5 more lore. Okay. I don't hate it. So I feel like I'm supposed to be allowed to play these. Maybe I'm wrong about the rule. But that's pretty awkward that the game won't let me play them. I thought I was going to be able to quest for 2 each turn here. Unfortunately, no dice. Well, I'm gonna do it just so I can activate my flutes, and then hopefully one more song will get me there. Lots of Pete's. Alright. I'm gonna be in trouble. I think what I need is like a whole new world into another flute or something. I mean, this is not nothing. It's gonna be pretty awkward. 7, 16 plus 2. If they manage to use these Pete's to win the game and I lose because I couldn't play this card earlier, that's gonna be pretty disappointing. Okay. That shouldn't do it. All right. And we get there with Sleepy's Flute. Okay, well, pretty good showing for Sleepy's Flute there. All right, here playing another game with the Sleepy's Flute deck. I've been lucky to be on the play like every game, which doesn't normally happen, but yes. I'm going to keep Stitch and Rockstar for sure, as well as Ariel and a Whole New World. I'm going to keep Simba probably just as ink, but also potentially as a curve piece in case I draw a 0 to hero. Now, the question is, what do I ink? And I'm not so sure. I'm playing against Sasuke, so probably like purple steel. Yuck. I'm gonna ink Simba, although I don't feel great about it. Drawing 2 uninkables is really not where I wanted to be. I'm glad I kept the Simba as ink, frankly. Gonna need to draw some more inkables here. Captain Hook. Cinderella. Would have been pretty neat. Well, yeah, I'm just gonna ink it and probably put a Sleepy's Flute in play. I think it's gonna be tricky. Yeah, I suspect that losing my Stitch is going to be on the table here on turn 3, which is gonna put me in a tight spot. Horrible. Okay. Well, I have to put Ariel in play, I think. I guess I'll draw 0 to hero. It is not good, though. Okay, more points against 0 to hero. I would have had a turn 3 Stitch this turn. Or this game, if they were Lantern. This is why I'm personally not a fan of 0 to hero. It seems very, very hit or miss, and it's been missing today. Okay. Well, I guess I will, because I don't... It's like not even very good here. Okay. Well, if I go queen, I guess I can shoot down a Madam Mim. It's not really where I want to be. But I think that's what I'll do. And then I'll have some options, assuming I get to keep my queen next turn. Obviously, if they play like Shift Tinkerbell into grab your sword, I'm going to be pretty much toasted. All right, step 1. Yeah, that'll do it. Okay. Well, what's the game plan now? I guess put the queen in play and hope for the best. Maybe, just maybe, these Sleepy's Flutes will be good. I'm gonna lead on Simba. Discarding Grab Your Sword. I'm gonna go Stitch, Flute, Ink, and A Whole New World. Okay. Maybe we just ride some flutes to victory. It's gonna be tough. I mean, they're getting a ton of cards. They have a much better board. Not convinced this is going to go well for me, but there's a chance. Once again, these 0 to heroes looking absolutely atrociously bad. Well, I feel like if I don't play a song, I don't know what I'm doing. So I think the best thing to do is going to be to play Grab Your Sword so that I can activate my flutes. And then the question is, what do I play? Opponent has lost 2 Grab Your Swords. It's not super likely they have another one. I think what I'm going to do... I'm going to put Stitch in play and hopefully try to quest with it. I don't want to quest with the Simba because if they shift Tinkerbell, then they could use it to shoot down my Stitch. Instead, I will wait a turn. Okay, well, I had the third one, which is definitely going to make this a hard one to win. Another Grab Your Sword wouldn't be horrible here. Cinderella, or Snow White. Probably too slow. I wish it wasn't, I really do. I'm gonna lead on Shock Draw. Beast. Yuck. Yeah, I'll say it. I think having 0 to hero in my deck definitely lost me this game. Think literally any inkable would have been significantly better. Lantern, which is the card that would probably replace it in most builds, would have been way, 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 way better this game. Just something to take note of. Obviously, playing turn 3 Beast is the reason it's here. Turn 3 Beast is an amazing play. But when you don't do that, it's not really where you want to be, I feel like. Well, I have no choice but to play Ariel. And A Whole New World will not do it. We are dead. Alright, well, it was an interesting experiment. I don't think this deck is super great. It's very, very high rolly, you know, high risk, high reward. It's what happens when you play cards like Flute and 0 to hero. But Flute was good. 0 to hero, absolutely atrociously horrible. Who knows? Maybe there's a way to make something like this work. Obviously, I was trying a lot of things. I also had Snow Whites in the deck, which it didn't really come up very much. I didn't draw them very often. Yeah, well, thank you so much for watching, and catch you next time.